Hello, brethren. Praise God. My name is Naira Masi Atwine. Thank you so much for joining us here on the journey of faith with the Atwines. To our subscribers, God bless you so much. Even you who has not yet subscribed, watch our videos, and in case you love them, subscribe, like, share, comment. Share to your friends who would be interested in this. So today I'm going to take us through a book, and today basically we're going to do chapter 1. So I want us to do this book called Grace Walk, by Steve McVey. It's a very interesting book, and I really want us to go through it together, because as Christians, this is something that we struggle with. Walking by grace is so hard. Sometimes we want to use our efforts, but in this book we are so much encouraged to do everything by the grace of God. So let me go through chapter 1. Chapter 1 has a title, and the title is Miserable Mediocrity. The author, who's Steve, he lay his face in his office crying. He was broken. He felt so weak. He prayed to God, but all was in vain. It seemed as if God was not listening. He had a service to do that Sunday evening, to address the church. But then it was so hard for him, because he was wondering, what should I do? Should I stand in front of people and pretend that everything is okay? Or I should just tell them the truth? Everything was so hard for him. All he could do was to cry. He had many questions for God, but God was silent to him. But then what was happening? Why is this man like this? So what had happened to him, he was serving in a church in Alabama, where he felt so successful. Everything was moving on well. The church was growing stably. Everything was successful. People were getting saved. The ministry was moving on. But then suddenly he received a call from the search committee. The search committee of pastors wanted to come to his church and see how he preaches. They also wanted to go to his family and eat with them lunch. In everything that took place in this chapter, he ended up being transferred to a different church. He was taken to a new church, and in his heart he thought maybe he could do the same as he did in Alabama so that this church can grow. But this time it wasn't working. He did all he could in his efforts, but it failed. The church was declining in number. For the first time in his 17 years of ministry, he suddenly felt like a failure, because things weren't working out as he expected. In the American culture, it demands a person to be so successful in everything they do. So this brought a sharp pain in his heart, because he was seeing himself not as successful as he really wanted to be in ministry. And it put so much unbelievable pressure on him. From this book, we also see that in ministry, in life, there are great fluctuations. And specifically, this is like the heights and the lows in anything you do, but specifically in this book, it was serving God. Sometimes a person is at their highest in serving God. You're evangelizing, you're preaching, you're doing this, everything is moving on well. Then all of a sudden, it stops making sense. He felt like he was at his depth, at his lowest in ministry. And then for him, he had a term for it. It was the motivation, condemnation, and rededication cycle. He felt like ministry basically is about that cycle. Motivation, whereby you're doing everything with all your potential to serve God. But then at a point, you start condemning yourself. You go at a low, whereby you're like, is this making sense? People are not getting saved. What is happening? Is this making sense? Then that is the condemnation. Then after you rededicate, then he would rededicate himself to God. But then the more he rededicated himself to God and felt he would want to do the best, he said in this book that whenever he read like 2 chapters, he wished that he could read like 4 chapters. And whenever there are 4, he would wish like to to read like 10. Whenever he's preached to one person and one person got saved, then they wished they would be two. So it was a constant battle of unfulfillment, and what he even calls mediocrity, as if it is like a feeling in his heart like I'm not doing the best. And success, the spiritual success, he says in this book, is not like the physical success. Like in business, whenever they tell us to work harder, whenever maybe something goes wrong in your business, they say work harder, don't quit. Even in school, when you fail an exam or something, they tell you work hard. And in this life it works, because when you put more efforts, then you pass. But you are saying in this book that it's not the same with spiritual things. In spiritual things, you have to reach a time and just let go and allow God to take everything. For God, you just have to rest. He says, he calls it rest while you work. So you have to rest and allow God do the rest, and he will be the one to enable you to work. And also here he talks about the rules. So the rules, as the rules work in this world, there are rules maybe to traffic, to the roads. So don't overspeed. When it's time for parking, park. If the traffic lights say this, follow that. Those are rules and they work. But then the biblical rules, which we know as the laws, they are not basically to make us work so hard or want to fulfill them, but they are just there to show us that we cannot manage to, in our strength, to fulfill any law. So from this, it was to show us that we are unable to follow the rules. The laws were to enable us to know that we are weak, we cannot manage, we shall never manage to do anything by ourselves. And that works in the journey of salvation. In the journey of salvation, we are not saved by works, we are saved by grace. So he was also telling us that grace does not stop on only just salvation. For Christians, we should know that even in serving God, in everything that we do for God, it should also be grace. Because the more you try to do in your own strength, you'll fail. But by God's grace, you'll be successful. So God began a work. The work was to show him that he's unable, only he is able. It was not a simple work in his life, but the moment he said, God, I am unable, I cannot do anything. For him, he felt like God was so happy, because that's what God was waiting for. To say, I cannot, please do it for me. I am weak. It's only you who can do that. And then from that's when God started doing amazing things for him in his life. And he makes something like a quote like, success is not a performance, but it is a person of Jesus Christ. So your works that you do after, of course we are saying after salvation, that the works of serving God, preaching the word, cleaning the church, everything that you do, it's not success. Success is a person, and that is Jesus Christ. He's enough. He can be the one to enable you to do those works. Just sit at his feet. He also speaks of something that when pastors meet together, instead of greeting themselves like Paul used to greet his fellows in ministry, he used to say, grace and peace be with you. But in those times, in the book, we find that they would meet and greet themselves like, how many people have you led to salvation? So and greetings like, how much are you getting in the church? How much is this? Like, they're talking about things of serving and forgetting that serving God is grace and peace. So it was like a reminder to us that even in our greetings, it should be just the grace of God and his peace to be in our hearts, instead of how much are you doing, how many are saved, how many are what, like that. So basically, in the conclusion of the book, it's like he let go, and then God was waiting for him to be with him. So I can also encourage us from that chapter that the same way we are saved by grace, let us serve by grace. Yeah, so that's all I can say. And please, if there are some other questions that you have that I could maybe have not explained in this chapter, maybe they're in the following chapters. So come along with us next time I come to share chapter 2 and other chapters, you'll get the answers. God bless you. That is it from me. If you have not subscribed, subscribe, like, share, comment. God bless you so much.